Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is for entertainment purpose only. This is the case of the Idaho quadruple murders. May the 4 victims rest in peace. Condolence to the families.
In Idaho say they have DNA linking Bryan Kohberger to the murders of 4 University of Idaho students. But it's not the only DNA that was found at the scene. And could other DNA point to other suspects during the trial? Thanks for joining me for Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Bryan Kohberger's trial for the murders of those 4 University of Idaho students could begin in the spring of 2025. That's an entire year from now. We know about some of the evidence in the case, but there's still a whole lot we don't know. One of the things that's been discussed a lot is DNA. Kohberger maintains he didn't kill Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Ethan Chapin, and Xander Kernodle in a house off campus in November of 2022. But prosecutors say he's their guy, and the evidence points squarely at him. Kohberger's DNA, according to police, was found on the snap of a knife sheath on Maddie Mogen's bed. That DNA profile led to Kohberger being identified as a suspect using genetic genealogy. But Kohberger's defense team said in a court document last year that there are 3 other unknown male DNA profiles that were found at the scene of the murders. 2 were inside the house, and 1 was outside of the house on King Road on a glove. Many people provided DNA during this investigation. One person even had their DNA taken from a discarded cigarette butt. So how big of a deal could unidentified DNA be in Bryan Kohberger's trial if it happens in 2025, as we expect? Joining me to discuss this is Law and Crime host, Jonna Spilbor. She's also a defense attorney. Jonna, thanks for coming on. I'm host, Jonna Spilbor. She's also a defense attorney. Jonna, thanks for coming on. When we first heard about this unidentified DNA last summer, that there were 3 profiles, 2 in the house, 1 on a glove outside, we were all like, wow, that sounds like it could be a big deal. But I also think about a college house as just a giant petri dish full of God knows whose DNA. So what do you think about the defense specifically naming or identifying these 3 sources of male DNA that were never identified or they're unknown?
I think it's a huge deal. And of course, I agree with you that in this type of house, there's going to be a lot of DNA from a lot of different people, right? And it might have gotten there in non-nefarious ways. But when you're dealing with a crime of this magnitude, of this seriousness, which really, and I keep going back to this, a crime of this magnitude, of this seriousness, which really, and I keep going back to this, really started out as a needle in a haystack type of investigation, then you do want to test all the testable DNA at the crime scene. So this is going to be big, and especially from a defense perspective, if it doesn't get, sort of fettered out pre-trial, you can bet your bottom dollar that this is going to be part of the defense in this case, what we call, kind of flippantly, but it actually has become part of the legal vernacular, the Sadi defense, the some other dude did it defense, a third-party defense. This kind of DNA untested would be monumental in this case for the defense.
I assume that they believed was significant. They tried to identify if there were unknown profiles. The state did, and they may still be doing that. I mean, this was filed last summer. Mm-hmm. And so they talk about in this filing, the defense had said, they got some guy's DNA off of a cigarette butt. They had found that, probably a potential suspect. So there are all kinds of ways to get DNA from people. I'm sure some people surrendered their DNA willingly, said, yeah, swab my cheek, whatever. But going through and looking at all of that, I mean, there's going to be DNA in certain places that could be significant, and the defense could point to that and say, oh, well, this is somebody you don't know about. And it could be anybody who had access to that house.
Correct. And if the defense is given an opportunity to do its own testing, that can happen too, which is sort of, it's weird, right? Because the defense doesn't have an obligation to do that. It's not their burden of proof. You would think, I mean, just let's think about this case for a minute. You would think that the DA, the prosecutor, would want to gather all of the DNA that is available, and as you know, we just talked about, that could be quite a lot. But with that, with the testing and doing the same thing that they applied allegedly to Koberger, they could figure out whether they have the right guy. I mean, that is the crux of this case. It's not enough to prove that a crime has been committed, and frankly, they don't need to prove that. That's obvious. They need to connect the dot. They need to find the right person or people who committed this crime. So the defense is going to be screaming that they want the state to go ahead and test that DNA. And if they don't, then they're going to want their own sample of it to test themselves, guaranteed.
The 1 million question is, where's the 3 unidentified male DNAs? We are definitely aware of all the parties that was held in 1122 Kings Road. We've seen Moscow police officers there very often. There was always parties, so you can imagine how many DNA samples are lying inside the house. This is a house with 3 floors. The 5 roommates and he definitely had friends over. There was a lot of parties held here. And we've been told by one of the Uber drivers or cab drivers in the neighborhood, he told the local newspapers that he drove many people here to purchase drugs. So you can imagine how many DNAs are inside this house. Is that the main reason that they demolished the house? So that they could get rid of all the DNAs that could be in question? Because it was a sudden move of them to demolish the whole house. In many of the big cases like the Murdochs, we've clearly seen that the jury went to visit the crime scene. And in this case, it's really important that the jury could have got a chance to go inside the house and stand in each and every room, stand on the steps even to hear if the steps were creaky, if they were making noises, because people who lived there before have said it's an old creaky house. Let's not forget there's a witness here called DM who said she heard different things. She said she heard a dog barking. She thought she heard somebody that sounded like Kaylee. May she rest in peace, saying that somebody's here. Then later on she heard Xana crying or whimpering, and then she heard the dog barking. If I was DM and I heard so many different things, and then I saw a man with a black mask and black clothing leaving the premises or the sliding door, I would have called 911 immediately, because it's about your safety. But no, that did not happen. 911 wasn't even called 8 hours later. Hunter Johnson was called and he called 911. When Hunter Johnson came to the house, there were other students or other people who heard all the screaming and the commotion. So some people decided to come inside the house. And it states on the airmail article said clearly that 2 students went upstairs to the 3rd floor and found Maddie and Kaylee, unlived. So when there are students who have already gone upstairs to the third floor, that is extremely important because the police did not come to the house yet. Anyone could have planted the touched DNA on the knife sheet button because the police weren't there. And what happened between the 8 hours that the two surviving roommates did not call 911? Things could have been moved inside the house. The 4 poor victims could have been moved. Something could have been stolen from the house. And the front door was wide open.
You're not going to take right now.
I'm just trying to go to bed right now. I mean, I understand you guys. You're coming here. I'm just going.
Okay. Well, understand that you're responsible for the residents.
Okay.
So whoever else is here, if they have a safe way to get home, you need to kick them out.
Okay.
Or tell them to come inside and be quiet.
Okay.
Because the houses that are on this hill all the way around here, we can hear you from clear down the road when we were coming up here. We can hear the music. And that's,
I'm so sorry.
we're past the point of having polite conversations, okay? Because the neighbors are being kept up, okay?
I'm sorry. It's just like.
Is the blonde gal and the guy up there, are they roommates too?
I'm sorry. What?
The blonde gal and the guy that's upstairs, are they roommates too?
None of my roommates are home. I'm
Oh,
the only one home. They're all my friends.
Okay.
So do you understand 100%
I understand.
what's going to
I'm just
happen?
gonna tell everyone get the. Sorry. Get the word. Figure it out.
And I'm not saying that you got to tell everybody they have to leave, but I'm telling you, any outside music, any loud yelling needs to be done.
Okay.
Because we're not, next time you're getting a ticket,
Okay.
okay? And if you get a misdemeanor citation, the university is not going to take kindly to it.
Yeah.
So not only do you have to go see a judge,
I've never had to deal with this ever.
Yep. and we don't want to start now. I don't remember having to come here, so I understand you guys are having to get together, but people have a way of taking the invitation and using it as an excuse to get out of control and be loud.
Advantage.
Exactly. Okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I just hope for your sake that your friends don't push you in a position where you get the citation and you have to go to court to defend yourself from your friend's behavior. Make sense?
Okay, thank you so
Okay.
much.
You want to get a good
So we could clearly hear the officer, I think that's Officer Payne, saying clearly that that he could hear the music from far away. And he said the blonde girl and the blonde boy upstairs and the other people in the house asked them to leave, others you'll get a citation. So we can clearly see that there are people and friends over that don't even live there. So you can imagine how much unidentified DNA is lying in the house. What upsets me here is the officers came to this house so many times and they were just passing empty threats. They could have actually saved these 4 victims by reporting them to the dean of the university. They would have got serious warnings that their education would have been terminated.
How goes it? Who lives here?
Pay close attention to this picture. We have Emma Bailey on the left and another girl to the right. And you can see the living room window there, and you can see somebody near the window. The officer asked the girls who lives here, and they said they don't know. Kind of strange that everyone who seems to be asked who lives here says that they don't know. What was actually going on in this house? Was the cab driver right? That is to drive people here to purchase drugs? We see Emma Bailey here. And definitely Emma Bailey and Demetrius got away with the overdose case of a 19-year-old boy. This is the spare room, and you clearly see E is golf set here. A sharp-edged weapon was used besides a K-bar knife. Did somebody use the golf set?
So everyone here is trespassing? Well, no one's here is trespassing, but no one that lives here is here right now. So where'd they go? They're just not here. I have no clue where they went. No clue. So you guys just found a party in their house at this time? They were here at one point. They're not here right now. I just searched all the rooms. They left and went over to some other party, and everyone in the family. I just searched all the rooms.
So Hunter, and allegedly I think his name is Eddie, from the Sigma fraternity, said they don't know who lives here. This is not the first time Hunter has been opening the door, whether it's a sliding door behind with Kaylee or the front door of the house, like he lives here. Let's not forget DM and BF call Hunter first. So it seems like E and Eddie were from Sigma Chi. You can see the police are pouring away the alcohol on the floor. So these parties were happening regularly. This all could have been stopped. I wanted to show you something I came across. It seems like Saeed is wearing Van shoes too. So there are two people at the band field, alcohol shop, that seem to be wearing Vans shoes. And Vans is important because it was mentioned in the affidavit. The footprint of a Vans shoes with the diamond shape was found in front of Dylan's room. Where did Saeed and these three boys come from, is the question. Is he wearing Vans? I want to know where this black truck came from. Because at 3 a.m., you have a car is front headlights flashing quite clearly. And then you see this black truck passing by Taylor Avenue. I think it was this car or this truck, its headlights that was flashing. When you look at the timing, and that was exactly at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. and 47 seconds. I believe this black truck is really important. This is from Law and Crime Network. This is at 0255. You can clearly see the flashlight or headlight of a car on the right hand side. You can see that above. You can see it clearly now. That definitely looks like a car's headlight. Let's not forget they said it was a quiet night. So now we saw the black truck at 3 a.m. passing by the Banfield, Taylor Avenue. I believe this was when the unlivings could have been possibly happening, because at 2:56 you hear Maddie or Kaylee, allegedly, or someone, a female, yelling, "Stop it, stop." It was heard clearly from the police's body cam.
Hey guys, Moscow PD. Come over here, talk to me. Moscow PD. Hey, is that beer?
What's up?
Is that beer in your hand?
Yeah, I'm 21.
You got any ID on you?
I don't.
Okay.
I'll take it back to my apartment if you need.
Okay.
Sorry.
Huh? No, they just took off. I told them to stop it. I'm not going to push it. You got your ID on you?
I don't.
Okay. I'm going to grab your info just because you got beer and you're walking out with
No, it's closed.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I live. It's closed.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I live like right there. I'll take it back if you need.
No, we're just doing alcohol enforcement and running around with beer across the street.
Sorry about that.
You're good. What's your last name? Date of birth.
2001. Like, one.
How'd you pull that one off? That's an awesome birthday.
Yeah, lucky birthday.
You have a driver's license?
I don't have it.
What? No, in general.
I don't, yeah.
What state is it through?
Idaho.
Idaho? Okay, so I'm just going to check if everything's good. Since they're not open, I'll let you hang on to them.
Okay. So I get charged with anything?
No,
or?
no.
Okay. Appreciate it.
But it's just enough for me to stop, check, make sure you're 21
No worries.
you're walking
Yeah,
out
I
there
get
in
it.
public.
Alright.
Moscow 77, check one. What's up?
I wonder what is in the bushes that looks like a mask, like a white mask. It's kind of strange. So we have Saeed and the guy on the right that have on van shoes. Interesting.
4, almost as though they're walking in single file. Out at night, at 3 o'clock in the morning, actually closer to 3:12 in the morning. And as you watch those 4 figures, remember, police say the murders happened between 3 and 4 in the morning. Did those people see something? Who are they? Have police track them down? Ask them any questions? Rule them out? And again, if they're ruled out, did they see something as they were on foot, walking just steps away from where the murders happened? We do not have the answers to this, any of it. But as usual, our senior national correspondent Brian Enton is live on the case, and tonight the exact location, right where that body cam action took place. So Brian, for us looking at it on television, it's hard to get the exact perspective of where the officers were standing, what direction their body cams were pointing, and where those 4 mysterious figures were walking from and to, and how far away they were from the actual murder scene. So can you take me there and help us get a feel?
Yeah, it's very confusing when you're looking at the body camera video, so hopefully we can give you some perspective. This is Band Field. This is where the alcohol call came in. The young men were here in the field when the police first showed up. That is the Sigma Chi fraternity house right there. So the police walked those young men across the street. This is Taylor Avenue, right to this spot right here. I was able to identify it because of the fire extinguisher. And
Because
they were
that's where
standing in this
Maddie's
spot.
coat was found.
The young men, and the body camera video was pointed this way, and it is over my shoulder where you could see very faintly what looked like several people walking fast or almost running by in the background. And I want to walk you over actually and give you a little more perspective. It was somewhere in this area right here, and we can tell because we analyzed these lights of this little apartment building. It was somewhere right in this area. There's another big apartment building here. The question you might be having is, how close is this to the house where the murders happened? Mo is gonna point in that direction. Our producer is out there. She's gonna flash a flashlight, Ashley. You see that flashlight flashing right there in front of the house where the murders happened.
So what we're effectively seeing is, like, if my eyes don't deceive me, about 200 yards away from where Mo is flashing the light at the murder scene, those four figures were walking where you're standing. It's that close.
It's that close, and it appears, again, it's so hard to see it in that body camera video, but when we zoom in, it does appear that the figures are walking/running from the direction of where the house is where the murders happened. At first, I thought they were just walking down Taylor Avenue, but when I got out here and really looked at everything, it appears they might actually be coming somewhat from the direction of the house.
Were the figures running, going towards the Sigma Chi fraternity? Were they running somewhere else? Isn't it interesting that the Sigma Chi fraternity president said they don't have any cameras outside the Sigma Chi? So it means they couldn't provide anything with who could have come at that time if the figures ran towards the fraternity. Let me end with my personal opinion. I've said from day one, and I've never changed my mind, that Brian Christopher Kohlberger could be involved somehow or the other. But I still believe that there are others deeply involved. And I believe that they are from the fraternities. It just can't be a coincidence that four figures are running at the time of the unlivings. We were told that the unlivings happened between 3 to 4 a.m. We were told that DM and BF were sleeping at the first floor. Did they change the timeline to the timing BK was seen around driving? BK could have been there for any reason, I believe. He could have been buying drugs, allegedly could have been dating one of the roommates or surviving roommates. But then again, his defense team said that he has no connections with the victims. I wonder if he had any connections with the surviving roommates. And I still personally believe the people inside the house could have been working with the suspects. The reason I say that is I don't mean that they physically were involved, but they could have let them in, because these are all students who know each other. Somebody wanted Kaylee to be there that night too. That's what I believe. It seems like none of Kaylee's friends wanted Jack to be at the memorial in the beginning. I find that to be strange. May the four victims rest in peace, condolence to their families, and may the correct justice be served. I'd like to thank all my subscribers, and I have posted on my community posts yesterday that I would be focusing and concentrating more on my other channel. It's called Psychology and Crime. Please subscribe to that channel if you enjoy my contents, because I wouldn't be making many contents in Huda London Mental Health and Crime. Wishing everyone a pleasant day, and I hope Brian Christopher Koberger gets what he requested for, a change of the revenue. I think that's important. We can already see how things are heading. They're heading towards a direction of unfairness. This is a small little town. He's not going to get the justice. He's not going to get a proper trial. That's what I personally believe, because everyone in this case is linked somehow to Idaho Moscow University.